Welcome back to more of the Afterglow of Grisaia, a Labyrinth of Grisaia side story. Story so far is that, well, last episode, we learned that our good friend Daniel Bone had passed away. He died in a bar fight, and we were bequeathed his vehicle that he spent all of his money on, but ended up getting all paid back after he rescued Chizuru from drowning. So now we have a car. But did you know, legends start the moment someone opens their mouth and exaggerates a story. As they're passed on, more little embellishments get added to the story until finally, there's power in those words. That power can inspire courage in some, but it can hurt others. The power of a legend is far greater than that of a gun. Within CIRS and some other organizations, there are certain agents renowned for their reliability and outright ferocity. However, most people have no idea about the true I-9029. I-9029 is special. I-9029 never fails a mission. But that's just what it looks like. Even I-9029 makes mistakes. Even I-9029 fails. But failure does not make a good story. This is a story that Asako told me when I was still a kid.
いいか、ユージ。私を天才だって言ってるやつは全員アホだ。私の仕事の成功率が高い理由は、失敗すると分かっている仕事は引き受けないってだけで、私だって失敗するときは失敗する。
Never bite off more than you can chew. Don't take on more than you can handle.
ただ、失敗して当たり前と思われている任務を何度か成功させたという事実が人づてに一人歩きした結果でしかないんだ。わかんねえか。
Guess I don't.
いいか、世の中ってのは善人の悪行は絶対に許されないし、一生許してもらえない。だが悪人の善行は必要以上に好印象で受け取られ、たった一度の善行が全ての評価を覆すこともある。
そういうもの？
要はそこらのクソ女と同じ考え方だ。完璧な男が一度でも嘘をついたら絶対に許さないし、クソ野郎にちょっと優しくされるとコロッと騙される。
ああ、そう言われるとなんとなくわかる。
完璧なやつだと思われると、たった一度の失敗でも許してもらえない。それって面倒だろ？だから私は常日頃から一生懸命にクソ女を演じているというわけだ。
それはちょっと何言ってるのかわからない。
いや、だからな、昼間っからビールを飲んだり酔っ払うと同じ口を何度も言うのも私という女の演出プランの一環であってだな。
Ah, I see.
聞きたくないよ、そんなクソみたいな言い訳。
Watch your language, Yuuji.
お前クソとか言うなよ。最近言葉遣い悪いぞ。誰の影響だまったく。そういう目で私を見るな。
でもさ、失敗すると分かっていてもそれを断れない立場の人間もいるんじゃない？誰もが朝子みたいにうまく立ち回れるわけじゃない。そういうのも才能なんじゃないの？
だから私だって失敗するときはあるって言っただろ。何日もかけて下見して当日現場に行って引き金を引かずに帰ってきたことなんて何度もある。いいか、諦めて引き金を引かずに帰ってくるのは狙撃兵としては負けじゃないんだ。標的を外して狙撃対象に狙われたと気づかせたり、それと気づかれるような痕跡を残さなければ失敗であっても負けではない。だからこっちが相手のことを好きだってバレてても告白しなければ失恋しないってのと同じだ。
朝子、愛してる。
Aww.
お前私の話ちゃんと聞いてるか？
今のは狙撃成功？
うるせえよ。お前そういうとこクソ野郎だぞ。
It's too late. He's already been tainted.
つまり絶対に負けると分かっている勝負には乗らないのが鉄則ってこと？
そうだ。負けなければそれでいい。成績を焦る必要はない。何度失敗したところで生きて帰れば必ず勝利の機会はある。そうして生き残ったやつだけがエースになる。
でも失敗ばかりしてたら仕事が来なくなるんじゃ。
だから失敗する仕事と成功する仕事をきっちりと見極めるんだよ。
どうやって？
簡単だ。悪条件が5つ揃った狙撃は必ず失敗する。どんなに有利な条件であっても不利な条件が5つ以上重なったら潔く諦める。たとえ100の有利があっても5の不利があれば必ず諦める。
それが10年に一度の絶好のチャンスであっても？
それが100年に一度のチャンスでもだ。成功の数より失敗しなかった数の方が重要なんだ。この仕事を長くやってるとそれがわかるようになる。お前にはまだピンとこねえか。
When I just started to work, I couldn't help but worry about racking up results. Sometimes you need to be a bit reckless when you're young after all. You learn a lot from the pain you go through. It's how people grow. Do not wish for an easy life, my friends. However, in this business, the flashier guys die young. Stick out too much and you'll just get hammered back down. According to my master, Kusakabe Asako, talent doesn't matter too much in this line of work. A sniper can land just about any hit as long as their conditions are right. Your main job is to make sure that they're in your favor. Go for reconnaissance of a spot you've already scouted out. If that's not possible, your chances of success will be cut in half. A sniper who has already checked out the terrain can claim it as their territory. It's a sniper's job simply to devour anyone who enters the area.
刀の間合いをぐっと広げたのがライフルの間合いだと思えばいい。
Okay.
お前だってこの山に敵が入ってきても負ける気がしないだろ。縄張り作りこそが狙撃の要だ。
なるほどね。
You can never be too careful. Never. You'll complete your mission flawlessly if you just scout out the area a number of times beforehand, but if you come across 5 adverse conditions, be a man, give up. And wait for the next opportunity. Even if the next opportunity only comes along every 10 or 20 years later. As long as you keep an eye out for that chance over the years, the target is bound to show an opening somewhere. It wasn't long after that when I learned what Asako meant through personal experience.
おいユージ、ハイキングに行くぞ。
Oh, hiking.
準備しろ。
ハイキング？
Is that code for something? Asako had been called out by JB the other day. She'd come back late at night, completely sober. She might have taken on a job of some kind. Asako almost never takes me with her on assignment. What she has done, it's usually been for some nonsensical mission or another. Maybe she's been handed a job she can't handle alone, and she wants me to assist her? Per Asiko's instructions, I stuffed clothing and supplies in a rucksack and put a sleeping bag and tent in a flatbed of a truck. Asako also loads the truck with a tackle box, adorned with the logo of a fishing gear brand and a long case designed for fishing rods. I'm guessing that the case actually contains a rifle. When the preparations are done, Asako makes me sit in the passenger seat and drives off without telling me where we're going.
どこへ向かってるんだ？
ハイキングだって言ったろ。山だよ。
Wait, don't you live in the mountains?
そうか。山か。
Asako won't tell me exactly where we're going. In other words, she doesn't mind that I don't know where we're going, provided she herself does. If by some chance I fell into enemy hands, it would be impossible to try and extract information from me since I wouldn't know anything. It's like when I was at Oslo's school. We were only given the scantest information regarding when, where, who, and how we were to kill. We weren't even allowed to ask questions. In that case, I shouldn't ask anything more than this.
熊がいない山だといいな。
Maybe I pulled a nerve with my manner of speech that hints that I know something, or maybe she feels pity for me after hearing such a bad joke. After all, not much time has passed since my beloved dog was killed by a bear. Aw. What was that dog's name? Didn't we name it like a boy name, but it was actually like a girl dog or something? Maybe like George or something? Asako reluctantly opens her mouth and says, Oh. Asako tosses a bag on my lap. Inside is the file on the man who's our current target. This can't be safe for a kid, right? Attached to the file is a single blurry photo that looks like it was ripped from the security camera. There are 2 sheets of A4 paper giving a basic rundown of the man's past activities. Name: Richard Balboa, ethnicity Caucasian, birthplace Slovenia. His father is a former Slovenian soldier. In 1988, Ricardo began working as an assassin targeting political refugees and enemies of the state. He was active in several countries including Belgium, the Netherlands, and Italy, and he assassinated 2 FBI officers in September of 1992. In November of that year, he was imprisoned by the Belgian authorities, but he was immediately released thanks to an intervention by the politician Andrzej Jakovic. The next year, he was recaptured and imprisoned in the Netherlands, but released 20 days later by the same politician. Something shady there, right?
とはいえ、向こうはこっちと違って堂々としたもんだけどな。
この人が今日本にいるってこと？
いるのが確認されたから、私んとこに仕事が回ってきたんだよ。
なんで日本に？
さすがに本国でもかばいきれなくなったんだろうな。それに日本は安全な上に必要な情報がバンバン集まってくる国だからな。
どんな相手なの？
残忍で用心深い、イタチのようなやつだ。イタチってやつは卵の中身を吸って何事もなかったように偽装するほどずる賢くて、同じ道は二度と通らない慎重さと、追い詰められれば最後っぺをかます狡猾さもある。ましてや世界各国で悪さをして檻に入れられては政治家に助け出してもらってるようなやつだ。だがチャンスがないわけでもない。
Not only do various governments and law enforcement agencies have their eyes on Ricardo Balboa, there's a $6 million bounty on his head in the crime world. That makes it very difficult for him to enter the city. Everyone wants him dead. It's less risky for him to drift about on the outskirts, where dash cams and speed cameras are extremely rare. He probably never stays at the same inn twice. This way, Balboa is able to slip the net just like the weasel. But the organization helping Balboa escape isn't so nimble.
おいユージ、あそこにある赤い屋根の建物が見えるか？
Asako points down at the peaceful rural landscape. Buried in that verdant prospect is a row of little apartment blocks and villas. At the end of a long farm road, I can see a somewhat rundown building with a red roof.
レストランなのかな？看板を見ると地中海料理のお店っぽい。観光地のリゾートレストランって感じかな。
いい読みだ。大して珍しくもなきゃ飛び抜けてうまいわけでもない料理にそれなりの値段をつけて観光客から小銭を巻き上げるタイプのあの店がイタチ野郎の逃亡を支援している連中のネストだ。
Pretty nice hole up right there.
イタチ野郎は毎週木曜日あの店に情報と逃走資金を受け取りに来る。電話とカードが使えないってだけでイタチは必ず不便を強いられて尻尾を出すってわけだ。
店に来たところをやるの？
イタチだってそこまでバカじゃない。狙われそうな場所には目星をつけてうまいこと避けてやがる。
ここからなら店まで約700メートルだ。やってやれない距離じゃない。
高低差と弾道を計算してみろ。
窓を狙うには張り出した屋根が邪魔だ。
そういうこと。もう少し近づければ話は早いんだが、そうすっと今度はこっちの姿が丸見えになっちまう。
50口径で屋根ごと吹き飛ばすってのは？
イタチ野郎が壁際に張り付いててくれりゃ それでもいけるかもしれねえが、確実じゃねえし派手すぎる。JB いくらでも派手にやっても全部 JB がもみ消してくれるっつんなら、店ごとミサイルで吹っ飛ばすのが一番確実だろ。
It's even flashier, I don't know.
あの店に酒とタバコと女を届けるのが一番確実なんじゃない？
I don't know about that. That seems like a obvious trap there.
嫌味を言うんじゃねえよ。私も JB もそういう仕事だ。いいからお前、ちょっとあの店行って飯食ってこいよ。
What, you want me to go to the restaurant? You serious?
視察してこいってこと？
But I'm not hungry.
いや、変にジロジロ店の中を見てりゃガキとはいえ怪しまれちまう。ただ普通に飯食って便所行って裏口確認してこい。
I can do that.
わかった。
ブッシュハットかぶってリュックサックと釣り竿を背負ってけ。そうすりゃ岩名釣りに来たフライフィッシング小僧に見えるだろ。
ベストとポンチョもいるな。
Someone dressed as a fisherman without any experience actually fishing looks unnatural, like a CIA agent in disguise. That's something I once saw written in a book I found on Asako's bookshelf entitled How to Identify a CIA Agent in 3 minutes or Less. Or your money back. Thankfully, I have the experience of living in a mountain cabin, and I'm quite skilled at fishing in the mountain stream for cherry salmon and char. Just as Asako instructed, I put on my hat, vest, and waders, and shouldered my rucksack. Finally, I covered myself with a camouflage poncho. With my fishing rod in hand, a compact digital camera around my neck, and a pair of sunglasses on the rim of my head, I look exactly like a young boy on a fishing trip.
変身完了。
Very Tom Sawyer-y.
フェイスペイントもするか？
No.
それじゃ山岳兵だよ。
偵察用具袋ってデカデカと書いてあるバッグも持ってけよ。
Ha ha.
あんた、俺をどうしたいんだ？とにかく行ってくる。
おい待てユージ、これも持ってけ。
何？偵察用具ならいらないよ。
Good luck trinket?
いや、粉砕用具だ。
粉砕？何これ？
見りゃわかるだろ？ホイールナットレンチだ。車載工具箱の中に入ってた。
何に使えって？
便所行ったついでにちょっと嫌がらせしてこいよ。一番奥の便器かち割ってこい。
Why exactly?
無茶言うな。
うるせえ。地味な嫌がらせも私らの仕事だ。言われた通りにしろ。これ
合コンに来たブスを追い返せって言ってくる先輩並みに横暴だな。
That's a very weird relation, but alright.
ああ？なんか言ったか？
行ってきます、師匠。
It's natural that an enemy who knows he's being targeted should leave no openings. If they do happen to be any obvious ones, it's best to consider them traps. No matter how cautious this weasel may be, there's certain to be a chink in his armor somewhere. Scouting ahead allows you to search for it. There are 2 steps to this. First, scope out the area through the eyes of your enemy. Become your enemy. See what he sees. Next, taking on your enemy's mindset. Look around once more, think about where to strike. If you still can't find an opening, adopt the enemy's mindset again and look a 3rd time. If even that doesn't work, then you have to look around and imagine being attacked from the enemy's point of view. After repeating this process a number of times, your thoughts will start to become biased. You'll think, this must be it, or I hope it plays out like this. You start getting wishful. When that happens, you need to erase all the previous intel you've gathered to start all over. It really is a game of cat and mouse. Or cat and weasel, if you will. Alright, here we go. The restaurant that Weasel Face visits every Thursday wouldn't strike you as a terrorist hideout at first glance. Looks like a fairly normal, trendy establishment, right? At the back of the restaurant, there are 3 steps leading down to a semi-basement. And there's also a loft with a few extra tables. It feels like a cozy little joint for grown-ups, rather than the sort of diner that a kid on a fishing trip might visit. I quickly scanned the room as though trying to gauge the atmosphere of the place. Spotting this, a man behind the counter wearing sunglasses and smoking a cigarette looks hazily in my direction. Taking off my poncho, I slap on the fake smile I learned when I was still with Oslo.
食事できますか？
The man behind the counter closes one eye as though he's annoyed by his own cigarette smoke and scratches his chin and motions to a seat. I sit down on the counter seat he points to, open up a menu, and choose the paella? That's their specialty. I don't know what that is, but it sounds fancy, right? He tells me it'll take a while, in a tone dripping with hostility, but I reply that I don't mind. He sends my order to the kitchen and the chef starts preparing the dish. As far as I can tell, the only people in the restaurant are the man behind the counter and the middle-aged woman in the kitchen in the back, who's currently cooking up my order. Seems like there are more people behind a black door with a sign reading staff only, but it doesn't look like anyone will be coming in or out soon. The man behind the counter gives me the cup of coffee that's offered with a meal set while I'm waiting for my food. Some kind of compress is wrapped around the man's arm. I notice it when he passes me the coffee cup. It's probably there to hide an incriminating tattoo. The man doesn't say much. I guess he grew curious about me as I quietly drank my coffee, though, as he simply grunts. Gone fishing? Going fishing? As much as I want to reply, what does it look like, you blockhead? I'm playing a little fisher boy. I raise my face, now red from the hot coffee, and reply, yes, for cherry salmon. In response, the man says, snakes can show up too, so be careful. I did not expect such kindness. I can tell just from a few short exchanges the guy likes kids. There are quite a few guys like him at Oslo's place, and it gives me the goosebumps. Looking around the restaurant like I'm taking in the atmosphere, I spot a table that's shielded by a wall and a pillar, and therefore difficult to see. That's probably Weaselface's private table. Seated there, he'd always have the entrance in sight, and he'd be able to determine just how dangerous any diners entering the restaurant are. It also looks like you can get from the table to a passage leading to the back door. In which case, the back door is the main point of interest. I place the coffee cup down on a saucer and ask the man where the bathroom is. When I enter the hallway that the man pointed me toward, 3 doors come into view. One door is for the bathroom, another is for the staff-only entrance. I don't know where the last one leads for sure, but it's most likely a door to a storeroom or an office. Without a moment's hesitation, I place my hand on the knob of the final door. It doesn't open. It's locked. Doesn't seem like anyone's in there. There's probably stuff in there that they don't want customers to see no matter what. The man chides me, saying, not that one, the one on the other side. After bowing my head in honest apology, I open the door that quite obviously leads to the bathroom. Considering the size of the restaurant, the bathroom is pretty big. It's split into male and female restrooms, 2 urinals in the men's restroom, and a small cubicle with a door. There's a single frosted window, and it's a small, louvered kind. Though you could climb through the windows if you remove the louvers one by one, there's a tree outside blocking half of it. Getting out from here would be quite difficult. My beloved master's orders are for me to smash up the urinal, but if I hit it with a wrench, someone's bound to hear. It wouldn't be very fun to be dragged away by the scruff of the neck and turned over to the police for property damage. After worrying it over for 10 whole minutes, I remove a pack of tissues from my pocket, wad about 20 of them into a little ball, and then stuff them down the drain. I experienced this form of harassment many times at Oslo's school when I was on toilet cleaning duty. They'd stuff a wad of tissues down the drain. After they'd push them further down with some kind of stick, you wouldn't be able to use that urinal for quite a while. The tissues become as hard as a rock after they sucked up all the moisture, and because of the minerals that build up, they get lodged in the pipe and can't be extracted. How many times did I find myself cursing those wads of tissue which I could neither dissolve with cleaning products nor plunge? The fact that those experiences should come in handy now just goes to show you that everything in life is a lesson, you know? Using the lug wrench I'd been given, I pushed the wad of tissues down into the drain. After returning the drain cover to its original position, I leave the bathroom. The door labeled staff only also intrigued me, but I thought better than to try and open it. I don't really care if I cause problems with the staff, but it wouldn't want them to be too suspicious of me. Even if I did open the door, I'd only find the room where they kept the trash, according to our data. After returning to my seat at the counter, I began to eat my paella and look at the view outside the window. From here, I can't see anywhere you'd be able to snipe Weaselface from. I see, yes, this is exactly the kind of burrow Weasel would escape to. In that case, the only choice we have is to lure the Weasel out of his den. Should we smoke him out? If the restaurant were to catch fire, his only choice would be to leave via the back door. But hushing it up would be much harder if the fire department were to get involved. Or maybe, as I said earlier, it'd be easiest to get a hot babe to sit at the counter. Then Weaselface would come trotting out of hiding in the moment he sat down next to her, with a glass of bourbon in his hand and a desire to woo her in his mind. He'd be struck down with a bang. If that were the plan, I'd probably end up playing the hot babe. There'd also be the option of having Asako sit at the counter and me do the sniping, but she's not about to let me do that. Not to mention, even if she knew that it was for work, she'd still be unable to hold back her temper if Weaselface started getting all touchy-feely. Scraping out the insides of the muscles with a fork, I look up at the man behind the counter. The man also shoots me a glance every now and again as I eat, smoking a cigarette all the while. Our eyes sometimes meet. If this guy were the target, it would be an easy job. I'd grab him, hit him, and stab him under the chin with my fork. Be a piece of cake, which I also ordered for dessert, by the way. No, I'm not the same person I used to be, and I'm not confident I could do something like that properly. Realizing that this way of thinking is actually sort of cute, I can't help but chuckle softly at myself. At this, the man behind the counter who'd been eyeing me looks hastily away. Bingo. Once I finish eating, I head over to the register to pay, upon which the man says to me, "If you catch any cherry salmon, bring them here. I'll cook them for you." After replying with, "I will if I catch them," I leave the restaurant with my rucksack once more on my back. In the end, I didn't find any intel that wasn't already on file. There's great merit in checking out the train firsthand, though. You know, sometimes there's a big difference between the place itself and the way it's described on paper. Returning to the camp where Asako had been waiting for me, I report what I saw. I explain where the pillars are and anything else that might interfere with trajectory. I provide information about the building's layout, including all the restaurant's dimensions, through sketches and hand gestures. It's really, really big, with my arms pretty far out. I'm not sure she's even listening to me, since she's lolling about on the ground half asleep, with a portable game console in her hands. Her only response to my report is a lethargic,
そんでお前、ちゃんと便器はぶっ壊してきたのか?
No, but I stuffed the drains. Really good.
破壊は無理だったけど、当分使えないようにはしてきたよ。
そんじゃいいや。
You seem disappointed. Rolling onto her side once more, she begins playing on her game console. Looking at Asako relax, I feel stupid for approaching the job so seriously. Joining my master, I grabbed an unfinished novel I brought from the cabin and decided to have some quiet reading time. That's cool. 4 days have passed since Asako and I entered the mountains. We erected a tent, set up a campsite, and used it as our base. With our map and our compass, we just spent our days walking around the area. While I prepared food for us, Asako would go out into the mountains alone, making notes on the map. I fear that Asako's comings and goings in the early morning and late at night would draw the suspicion of the campground owner, but such a blunder never occurred. That's because Asako reserved the campground under the guise of conducting scientific research related to earthquake predictions. With that knowledge, nobody would suspect us as we loitered around with slightly fishy-looking equipment to catch fish with. To normal people, it would just look like we'd be doing complicated research. In actual fact, even I don't understand half of what we've been doing. We're probably walking around looking for the most optimal and least expected location to snipe from. If I ask Asako what we're doing, she'll tell me. But she won't tell me anything I don't ask.
なあ、ユージよ。私は一応お前の師匠ってことになってるが、私はお前に何も教えないぞ。
見て覚えろってこと？
そう言っちゃえばかっこいいんだけどな。私自身も師匠からは何も教わらなかったっていうか、師匠もどう教えればいいのか言葉が見つからなかったんだろうな。そんな師匠のもとにいたからこそ、私はしっかりと教えてやりたいとも思うんだが、あれ、やっぱり私もうまく教えることはできん。見て覚えろ、考えろとしか言えん。
あれ見ろこれ見ろ、ここはああしろ、あそこはこうしろって教えなら、もうオスロの学校で散々習ったよ。
教えられたことだけ完璧にできても、そこから先は進歩が止まるからな。そういうやつに限ってできなかった時に言い訳をしやがる。それは教えてもらってないってな。
オスロの学校じゃそういうやつを真っ先に落ちぬ間抜けって呼んでた。
そういう意味じゃお前はもう基本ができてるから手のかからん弟子ではあるんだが、
朝子にはもう十分いろいろなことを教わってる。
例えば
JB の扱い方とか。
クソ野郎かお前。
After completing a brief survey of the area, Asako spent 2 days in the tent drinking beer. Today's Thursday. It's actually Tuesday, but in the game it's Thursday. So you don't get confused, everybody. In the end, we still have not found a secure sniping point. Glaring at the map of the mountains that she drew up herself, Asako bites her bottom lip and mumbles as if in agony, while rolling around on her bed in the tent. Suddenly, she lifts herself up.
よし、決めた。
諦める？
いや、やるったらやるぞ。
Alright. I like that attitude. There's one problem I can think of, as I distinctly watch her making a ruckus, but it isn't Asako saying she's gonna do it over and over again, like a kid who insists on getting her own way. For the past few days, I've walked around in the mountains with Asako, and we found multiple sniping points. Like Goldilocks, though, she proclaimed them all too close or too far or something else. We did not find one spot that passed Asako's 5 adverse conditions tests.
どうするつもり？
成功の可能性が一番低いところからやる。
Right inside the diner.
地図見たってチェックは入ってねえよ。その場所は私が一番最初に目をつけた地点だったんだが、あまりにもタイトで真っ先に除外した地点だからな。けどな、いざこうして現場を見て回ってみりゃ、どの地点も成功率は似たり寄ったりだ。だったら思い切って敵が一番予想してないところから攻めることにする。
敵が一番予想していない地点？
巣穴に逃げ込んだイタチは入り口の方の警戒に集中する。巣穴の奥に尻を突っ込んでりゃ背後を警戒する必要はなくなって前方警戒に集中できるからな。
Gain his trust, enter his inner circle, then kill him from the inside.
そうなりゃ前方警戒に集中するあまり後方の警戒はズルズルになるってわけだ。
巣穴の後方、店の裏側から狙撃するってこと？
そういうことだな。
Oh, I like my idea better.
でも店の裏側に窓はないぞ。
ごちゃごちゃ説明してる時間はねえな。
Asako checks the time on her watch wrapped around her left wrist.
あと1時間もすりゃイタチが巣穴に入っちまう。お前さ、もう一回あの店行ってこいよ。
いいけど何をするの
Order some more food.
前回と同じだ。飯食ってりゃいい。
それだけ？
あとは便所の確認だ。この前使えなくした一番奥の便器がまだ使えないか確認しろ。ほら、これ持ってけ。私の仕事用の携帯だ。便所が使えないのが確認できたら私のプライベート用の携帯にメールを送れ。
わかった。
じゃあ私は車でポイントまで移動すっから、お前も頃合いを見計らって店に行け。わかったな。
Alright.
それだけ？
便所の確認ができたらまた指示を出す。
As I'm scratching my head over this, Asako heads out of the tent with the fishing pole case on her shoulder. Even though I haven't got much experience in the field, I can sort of figure out what Asako's trying to do. Most likely, Asako's planning to snipe the target from the small bathroom window while he tries to do his business. She told me to break the Yorama for reasons of trajectory. If the target were to use the Yorama at the very back, he'd be hidden from the window. If he were to use the second one from the end, he would enter the line of fire, though just barely.
とは言っても
Outside the window, there's a tall, thick tree. If a sniper were to aim at the target while trying to avoid it, their field of fire would be minuscule.
しかも
I open up the map we've been using the last few days as we inspect the place. Try marking the trajectory on it with a red pen. The rear of the restaurant is right up against the mountainside. Even if you tried to shoot from there, the trees would be in the way and the line of sight wouldn't be clear.
となると
She must be intending to shoot from somewhere high up, so the copse of trees wouldn't be in her way. I drag the red pen in a straight line across the paper, this line representing the sniper's line of sight. I drag it further, then further still. At the end of the long red line is a building. I remember passing this hotel when we first came here. I tilted my head in confusion when I saw this castle-like building nestled in the mountains, wondering if it really got any customers. True, in a love hotel, customers don't have to talk face-to-face with the staff. You can go straight to the rooms. If she was lucky, she might get a corner room. Then the target would just barely end up in her line of sight. The remaining problem is the distance. I put a curvometer on top of the map, adjust the scale, and measure. 800 meters, it's pretty far. It could work at this distance if the conditions are favorable, but Asako would be lucky if 2 bullets and 10 struck. If you're somewhere like the desert and the target's kind enough to stand perfectly still, you'd hit them if you aimed for the torso, even if the trajectory was off by 20 or 30 centimeters. In this case, Asako is going to have to shoot her target through a window almost totally hidden behind the trees. Keeping the height of the window in mind, she'll probably only be able to see the target from the shoulders up. The bullet will fly in a parabola, and if it hits the target in the shoulder, it would probably exit his body via the flank. If it were to hit him, it would definitely take him down. But the field of fire is just too narrow. It's probably less than 15 centimeters across. However, my beloved master had raised her fist high in the air and yelled, "I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it," like a horny teenager. As her apprentice, I just have to believe in her. That's all I can do. With the cherry salmon I caught in the river for dinner, I head towards the restaurant. Oh, we actually did go fishing. Awesome. Seeing me enter the restaurant, the man behind the counter winces. "Just like I said, I brought the fish I caught," I say to him. "Why did this kid come today of all days?" his expression reads. I doubt he's wincing like that because of the smoke from his cigarette getting in his eyes. It's almost time for Weaselface to enter the restaurant. They probably want as few customers as possible, and they might even try putting up a closed sign on the door, depending on the situation. It's only a matter of time before the man begrudgingly asks me to come back another day. That's why I grab the chance to slap the biggest fake smile I can muster on my face. After conjuring up a voice so sweet that even I'm left wondering where it came from. The man seems to accept defeat. He grimaces, but allows me to sit in the same chair that I was before. I suppose he must be thinking that there's no helping it now since he already let me in. Takes the fishing basket with the cherry salmon and asks me, "Want a grill with salt? Is there any other way?" I know that it takes quite some time to make paella. If I were to order it now, Weaselface will arrive just as it's ready. Even the soft-hearted man has his limits, and his face shows his disapproval. The moment before he starts to tell me he can't manage that, I intercept him. Alcoholism. The words mother and hospital work perfectly on this kind of a man. His expression changes immediately from displeasure to pity. Though you can still see the worry on his face, the man says, "Okay." Takes the fish to the kitchen. I thought of that excuse on the spot, but I feel bad for choosing alcoholism of all things. It's even worse that I thought of Asako when I said that. I guess it can't really be helped. Every time my master pops in my head, she's always chugging down a beer. There were other ailments I could have chosen from, sure, but an alcoholic mother implies a whole host of other problems. Almost an exaggerated amount. Maybe it's better that way. The chef in the back begins making the paella, and the man from behind the counter returns to make some coffee I didn't order. I ask the man if I can use the bathroom. I want to carry out my master's orders as quickly as humanly possible. I know where it is, since I used it last time. As I walk to the bathroom, the man calls out to me and said, "The urinal at the back isn't working, use the one near the door." I don't doubt the man's words, but I feel like I need to confirm it with my own 2 eyes. I find that there is indeed a piece of paper reading out of order, taped on the toilet, and the dirty fluid that's overflowing from the drain just shows that it needs a plumber to come and fix it. With the urinal in this state, no one is going to want to use it. They would have to try to avoid that disgusting water splashing at them while they did their business. quite proud of my handiwork. I nod my head contentedly as I step back in to admire it. Suddenly, the cell phone I got from Asako vibrates in my pocket. It's a text message. Car carrying Weasel on its way to den. Restroom situation? ? Confirming the contents of the text message, I swiftly type my reply. Urinal out of use, no problem. A few seconds later, after sending my message, another text from Asako arrives. Roger, send text when Weasel's in the bathroom. I send a simple text reading Roger and reply before deleting all the messages on my phone and return to the dining area. I return to the counter and sip daintily at the hot coffee. As I wait for the paella, I spot a sedan drive in the parking lot through the window. A man who appears to be the Weasel's accomplice exits the car from the driver's seat. The two walk in together, the accomplice is almost acting as a shield for the Weasel, whose face closely resembles the one I saw on the file. So this is Weasel face, huh? One thing's for sure, though. He looks much smaller than the file had suggested. That and his suit looks like one you'd find in the bargain bin at a thrift store. Weaselface stops and makes a point of looking at me, the restaurant's only other patron, up and down. Finally, his gaze lands on the man behind the counter. Meeting his gaze, the man behind the counter gives him a slight nod, most likely to say there's no problem, he'll leave very soon. Irked by the man's response, the Weasel grudgingly goes to his designated table at the back of the restaurant. And the Weasel is in the den. As much as I want to send this text to Asako, she could probably see what's going on without me reporting. The moment the Weasel sits down, his associate stands facing the window, hands behind his back. Aiming through the front window would now be out of the question. Oh man, I could take this guy out right now, no doubt about it. Target's less than 10 steps away. On the counter is a fork casually left out for the paella. If Asako were to tell me to do this for a moment, it would take less than 10 seconds to rub him out. However, the cost would be my own life. If I were to somehow able to return back to Asako alive, she would never forgive me for what I'd done. However, my chance of success would be much higher than Asako's. What are you gonna do, Yuuji? I would die for Asako without a single doubt in my mind. I threw my life away once before, and Asako helped me find it once again. I wouldn't regret it. Not even a bit. But why die for Asako? Why can't I believe in her and live for her sake? That's right, Asako is my master. What kind of apprentice would I be if I didn't do what my master says, and I believe in her? As if deliberately interrupting my inner conflict, the paella I ordered is carried out of the kitchen. I take a Tupperware box out of my rucksack with an apologetic look, though the man says, "Sorry, an important customer just arrived. I'll pack it up for you, so eat it with your mother, okay?" God, this is bad. I didn't factor this in. He's shooing me out of the restaurant. I'd planned to keep an eye on Weasel's face while I ate my paella at the very least. The man behind the counter scoops the freshly made paella into the food container I gave him. Including the time it will take up for the man to pack the food up and ring me up at the register, I only have a few minutes left in the restaurant. Now, should I just drop all the coins from my wallet on accident and then pick them all up at the floor to buy time? I can see Weaselface looking at what I'm doing from the back of the restaurant. As I stand at the register, my wallet open, agonizing internally the whole time. What? Why is he looking over here? The Weasel rises from his chair, his eyes still glued to me. He walks hastily down the hallway that leads to the bathroom. I get it. Now that I'm standing by the cash register, I've become cover for you. When I was standing near the entrance, he must have figured that I'd be a pretty good meat shield. He chose to take the opportunity to enter the hallway. At the end of the hallway lies 3 doors. The first door is to the bathroom. The second door leads to the staff room where trash is kept, and the third door is locked. If he chooses the third door, I should be able to hear it being unlocked. If he enters the staff room, the sound of the door opening and closing should be different from that of the bathroom door, so I should be able to tell those two apart. I focus on that sound while I pay the man at the register for the paella. Okay, without a doubt, the sound that reaches my ears is out of the bathroom door. The Weasel's in the trap. I honestly want to start applauding, but instead I take my change from the man at the register with a big smile on my face. Exiting the restaurant, I immediately remove my cell phone from my breast pocket and send a text. The Weasel's in the trap. Without even waiting for Asako's response to my text, I briskly make my way out of the building and return to the camp. Did she successfully complete the job? I want her to give me a call, at least, regarding a failure or success, but my master isn't what you called considerate. Well, if she did fail, she'd probably just call me and say, let's blow this popsicle stand. I'd guess that's no word from her means success. Gripping the cell phone in my hand as I think, it suddenly vibrates. Someone's calling. Almost excitedly, I press the call button and pick it up. However, when I put my ear to the receiver, I hear an unexpected voice. JB?
ここにはいないよ。仕事中。
まさかあなた、また朝子の代わりに仕事したんじゃないでしょうね。
いや、違うよ。俺はキャンプ場で留守番。今回はちゃんと朝子がやった。
まあ、でしょうね。
でしょうねって、どういうこと？
現場に配置してた監視員から連絡があったわ。仕事は成功。標的は頭部を撃ち抜かれて即死したそうよ。
We had a spy in there the whole time? Why did you need me?
嘘。
本当よ。観光客を装った監視員が店内に入って確認したし、レストランの店員が慌てていろんなところへ電話してるのが傍受されたわ。
いや、そうじゃなくて、ヘッドショットしたのか。あの状況で。
朝子ならやるでしょ、それぐらい。
マジか。
朝子と連絡取りたいんだけど、朝子はプライベート用の携帯を持っているの？
うん。
ああ、まあいいわ。朝子が戻ってきたら、お疲れ様って。あなた。
わかった。
Wow, she did it. Incredible. Shooting from 800 meters away, not to mention that the field of fire was only 15 centimeters wide? The target would have looked as small as a sesame seed. It would have been hard to hit him at all. But a headshot? How was she able to pull off godly moves like that? According to my master Kusakabe Asako, any sniper can strike their target as long as the conditions are right. She says that talent doesn't matter too much in this line of work. What the hell is she saying when she's able to pull off crazy missions like this?
それでも才能なんざ関係ねえっていうのか。
よう、何笑ってんだ？
You got here fast.
随分とご機嫌じゃねえか。
ああ、朝子、おかえり。
おう。
仕事成功したって今 JB から連絡があった。
あ、そっか、やっべ。仕事用の携帯。
Oops.
お前に持たせたままだったか。
うん、別に。朝子にお疲れって言っといてって。
そっか。またユージを現場に連れ込んでってごちゃごちゃ言われっかと思ったが、それならいいか。なんだよその目は。なんか言いたいことでもあんのか？
いや、これは偉大なる師匠に対する尊敬の眼差しだ。さすがだな、朝子。
私に惚れるなよ。
それはもう手遅れだ。朝子、愛してる。なんだよその目は。
You don't love me?
あのな、私は JB ほどちょろくはねえぞ。
分かってる。
まあいい。とにかく撤収すんぞ。腹減ったし。
No need. I got us some paella.
アルコール依存症の母親のために店で作ってもらったパエリアがあるけど。
Don't read too much into that, alright?
なんだそりゃ。
Well, I think that's it for this episode. Now, see you next time when we're probably going to finish it up. So, have a good day, guys.